Hi, I'm Stuart Baker, and here's another episode of Chamber Talk. Today I have with me our city manager for Nevada City, Sean Grayson. Sean, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm curious. So you've been in this position now 2 years. Tell us some of the highlights that you've had in your adventure so far.
None. It's been horrible. No, actually, it's been wonderful. As you know, it started the day before I started with a parade in my honor, although you called it Mardi Gras. So that was exciting. You know, it's been lots of really wonderful things. You know, one of the things that was near and dear to my heart was Snowmageddon, and not the fact that we got so much snow, but you know, the kind of the neighbors helping neighbors aspect. Mm-hmm. So our police chief Dan Foss and I went out to shovel driveways for folks that couldn't get out after our snowplows cleared the roads. You know, driveways were blocked, and
right.
Every time we'd get to a neighborhood, by the time we got there was already people coming out trying to help their neighbors, and
that's great.
So that was really exciting to see. But the most contemporary thing is a couple of weeks ago we had the first meeting of our Public Arts Commission. So first time we've had a Public Arts Ordinance or a Public Arts Commission. So it's wonderful to see, you know, a city of arts have a commission and be on its way. So
nice.
It's been great.
No, that's great. So for viewers out here who are not familiar, give us a sense of like how the city government is run, you know, the structure and the checks and balances and all of that.
So we're a typical council manager form of government. So that's the most common in California. And so basically what that means is the public elects our 5 council members to represent them and their interests, and they're the policy makers. And well, really they're the policy adopters, and they're the budget adopters. And then they hire two positions, the city manager, to oversee all functions of the city, and the city attorney to represent the city's legal interests. And then everyone that works for the city works for me. So that's good and bad. It means I have 5 bosses,
right.
And I'm an at-will employee. If they don't like me anymore, they can get rid of me. But it means everyone that works for me doesn't work for the council, they work for the city. So that's kind of the check and balance there of the council doesn't have to directly supervise employees. They just give me those policy decisions. And that's like I said, that's the most common form of
local
government. There's other ways to do it, but you know, it's tried and true method works really good. And you know, so effectively, I'm the policy and budget implementer. So I make their policy directions work.
And so how does it work? So every year you get a new mayor, and I believe in Nevada City it's not considered like a strong mayor, it's a rotating mayor. So how does that work? Like, is the mayor considered more a boss than other council members, or?
So ceremonially, yes. In strictly legal terms, no. So also the most common form of council manager government is a rotating seat mayor. So not a publicly elected mayor. In Nevada City, we rotate every July. In other places like Truckee, they rotate in January. Grass Valley, I believe, has a 2-year mayorship, so they, you know, theirs is even different than that. But everyone is elected to be a council member, and then at some point, depending on the rotation, they come into being the mayor. And so in this case right now, Mayor Daniela Fernandez with the Vice Mayor Gary Peterson. Gary Peterson will become the mayor July 1st for Nevada City. So that's it would seem that it's a challenge because every year you're rotating kind of who the boss is, but in practical terms, they're not actually the boss. They are a council member. They run the meeting, and ceremonially they're in charge, and that's important because they're my go-to for how we set the agenda and how the meetings will flow, and they do set the tone, so to speak. And so it's very important, but at the same time, they still just get the one vote. They're still a publicly elected council member, and it doesn't carry any more weight. So I still work for the 5 of them. So you know, they couldn't individually fire me, but they certainly could, you know, get 2 of their colleagues to go along with that. So
great, yeah. So it's like kind of 3 of them have to agree, like, okay, you're not working anymore, and then
right,
yeah. Okay,
so that's it works great.
Yeah, no, it seems like it's a good check because if obviously with 5 people, you're going to have different opinions from a single person in almost any case. I mean, that's just human nature. So, but it takes a majority of those people to decide, hey, you know, I really think that it's tough. And then you've got the Brown Act, where people can't really meet outside, and so it also makes it for added transparency and possibly added complexity.
It does, and you know, I think a lot of people just believe that they're the mayor, so they could just tell me to put something on the agenda. And while to a certain extent that's true, you know, we work collaboratively, and it's not a fighting process. So if I know that, you know, the council wants a certain policy item on the agenda, then I'm certainly going to do that. But it's, you know, I think people put too much burden on what the mayor's role can and should be, and that's not fair to the mayor, to the council members. But yeah, the Brown Act limits their ability to meet in a quorum. So our council's 5, so they can't have a discussion or meet or email each other or even use social media in any way that would create a de facto meeting. So, you know, 3 of them can't get together for coffee and talk about what the next council meeting agenda might include.
Yeah.
It's the work of government. The public's work is in public, so they get the agenda information the same time everyone else in the
So it
community
makes
does.
sure everything's transparent and there's no like little faction that secretly controls everything, you know.
Right.
So yeah, no,
Correct.
That's great. That's great. So I know that having worked alongside the city in the role of the chamber, your staff does a whole lot. I mean, you know, from you know, the sewer system, the like you said, shoveling driveways, everything. What are some other things that people may be surprised that your staff does? Because I mean, how many staff people, say, besides the police department, are there?
So there's 39 full-time employees in the city currently. That's with every spot full, and it's uncommon for us to have every spot full because at any given time somebody leaves. So from the bottom up and the top down, our folks wear a lot of hats. We're a full service city, meaning we have police and fire and water and sewer and your regular local government and trash pickup and everything in between. And so with those 39 people, we have to deliver what you know, a city of 120,000 where I came from before would deliver with 700 employees.
Right.
And so that means our street crews, what people would think of as our street crews because they see them out working on the streets, they do streets. And they clean up the parks, and they
help us put up the Christmas tree.
They put up the Christmas tree. They maintain the sewer lines and the water lines, and they're the ones doing the snow plowing and all of those things. And so that's at the very bottom. You know, our
street
workforce.
sweeping too.
They do all the street sweeping, blowing. They empty the garbages in the downtown. And then when you look at the top of our organization, I do a lot of things that would traditionally go to a department head because I don't have a department head in necessarily that space, which is not a woe is me because I love doing those things. But then my department heads, my managers and directors are also taking on kind of non-traditional roles. Our planning department is a army of one. Lisa McCandless does a wonderful job, but she's also in charge of the Arts Commission as well. Our city engineer is an army of one also, but he's the public works director, so he does all city projects, but also oversees water, wastewater, and the public works crews.
Wow.
So everybody does extra, all the way down to the person at our front desk. We call our customer service representative, but they're also responsible for water, wastewater billing, business licenses, business going out in the community and saying, hey, your business license expired, how can we get you to renew? So everyone wears a lot of hats, but it works really well because it's a small, close-knit community.
Yeah, no, that's great. So now let's talk a little bit about future. Where do you see Nevada City in a perfect scenario going? Like, where would you like to lead it towards where it isn't now?
Well, so we say, our tagline of our strategic plan is that we're at the crossroads of history and progress. And so where's it going? Hopefully it's staying exactly where it is and protecting the things that we've always protected, kind of the history of the community, but also advancing in terms of technology and responsiveness to climate change and really moving in the direction that the overall community wants it to go. Fortunately, our city council and our community underwent a strategic planning process just shortly after I got here, and that's really the guiding document of what we'll be working on at any given time. So my desire is that we execute on that strategic plan. Of course, it's not in concrete, so even though it's a 5-year strategic plan, we can change stuff up, and the community might say, this thing's less important to us now than it was when you started. So can you move it over and add this other thing? And being responsive to that strategic plan is really my job, and that's what I love to do, is advance those items that the community wants.
And I'm curious, tell us a little bit more. Obviously, when we think of climate change in Nevada City, we're thinking about fire prevention and the threat of fire. But what are other aspects that you're either concerned about or would like to fortify or improve?
So, wildfire is the existential threat, but the threat of wildfire comes with it the risk of water insecurity. So they go hand in hand. So when you don't have much water, you have a higher wildfire threat, and we've seen the cyclical nature. We're in a lot of rain and El Nino season right now, and that will fill up our reservoir for fresh water. But at the same time, the trees that are on the ground will suck up a lot of that water out of the aquifers, and then they grow even bigger and become potentially drop more limbs to be more of a wildfire problem. So water and fire are always intertwined. And then, with the last 2 years, we had Snowmageddon, and we've always had snow in Nevada City, but not to that extent.
No, exactly.
So those are among the biggest. Fortunately, we don't have sea rise challenges here in Nevada City.
But that's true. But air quality, that's going to be, I know it goes hand in hand with fire, but it also could mean that if we do a good job locally, it could still impact us. And is there thoughts around what to do around wildfires that are burning far away that impact our quality of life?
Yeah, so that's a huge challenge, and not one that's easily solved, because, as you know, we can get socked in by the mosquito fire or the river fire or whatever the close fire might be. But it's more about built-in protections and making sure that there's places for people to go where they can be in a safe, smoke-free environment, and that's also supporting our businesses to have those opportunities. If a coffee shop can't be safe from that smoke, it probably doesn't take a ton of money or effort to do that, but it takes a little bit of forward thinking and partnership with the chamber and the businesses in the city to do that. The county's helped tremendously in that regard with smoke shelters and really carrying the information about what fires are going on and what people might be able to predict. But I would love it if we never had to cancel a special event again for smoke.
Would be great.
But I don't have that power yet.
I know, right? Exactly. Yeah, because I know, especially during Snowmageddon, we had a really great network communication going on. I know that the county shared information with us that we shared with all our members, and that was really helpful. And I think, doing that type of communication and keeping people with giving them accurate information about what's going on, I'm sure that's probably one of the highest priorities, during a crisis at least.
Absolutely. And we just opened the Nevada City Office of Emergency Services on January 2nd. We hired a wonderful young man, Evan McClenathan, who's our community risk reduction officer. His title is actually much longer than that, but we shortened it that, and he runs our Office of Emergency Services. And initially focused really on making us safer from wildfire, but his primary focus is on all things risk, and that starts and ends with communicating with the public and those that live, work, and play in our city. So we're really excited about the opportunities that he'll bring to the city.
Great, excellent. So is there anything else you want to share about your position, about where Nevada City's going, about just anything? Here's your golden chance.
My golden chance. Well, always invite the public to engage with us. So, COVID really impacted civic engagement. Nevada City is a community that desires to be involved and to, have their voices heard. And COVID kind of pulled that away from things. Even though we had Zoom,
I know.
There was noises, but it was hard to listen. And so, we invite people to come to our council meetings. Second and fourth Wednesdays of every month, we invite people to come to our 7 various committees that involve our council members, our Public Arts Commission, which is the first Wednesday of every month, our Planning Commission, which is the third Thursday of every month, Fire Safety Advisory Committee, the third Thursday of every month. Really get involved, bring somebody with you. What I'm excited about, opportunities for the next couple of months with our current mayor, Daniela Fernandez, is she's working with us to have a youth component to civic engagement. So we bring youth into the council chambers, introduce them to government, share what, how things work, how meetings work, kind of, pull the curtain back so you can see the Wizard of Oz. And so that's a really good opportunity. So if anybody wants to be involved, starts with coming to meetings, and especially if you have young ones that, high school kids especially, bring them along with you.
Yeah, no, that's great. Excellent. All right, Sean, well, thank you so much. That was super informative. And here's another episode of Chamber Talk. Thanks for listening.